By the way, just for the record, they asked if I needed a microphone. I said, not in this room, you don't need a microphone. You can hear everything in this room, right? Everybody can hear me? Yes. All right. I am not waiting anymore. Familiar faces all around. This is very nice. Even blasts from the past. I love it. It's nice to see everybody. Thank you so much for coming out to support whatever this is that I'm doing, that truly you'll find out I'm really not sure yet where this is going to go, right? This is purely experimental. But I should say that I walked into this shul the first time a couple of days ago, which I'm embarrassed because Rabbi Goldschmidt, who'll be here any minute, I'm sure he'll be here. He's not going to miss these things, I don't think. He's probably watching on his live feed. I didn't know there was going to be a live feed to this whole thing, which is wonderful, amazing. So Rabbi Goldschmidt came to me and he says, actually he called me, very excited. He goes, you're going to do a thing in the shul. And at that moment I said, I'm going to do a thing at the shul. He goes, yes, you're going to do it. I say, what am I going to do? He says, you're just going to talk. I said, Rabbi, are you crazy? I'm just going to talk? That's all I'm going to do? You think that's all we're going to do? He goes, trust me. Just get up there, say something about Pesach. Talk about Pesach. We want to talk about Pesach. I said, I don't understand. You think people are going to show up to listen to you talk? I'm just curious. How many of you are expecting a meal? Okay. I figured it would be like 30%, 40% would be expecting a meal, right? You're definitely not getting a meal tonight. As you can see, you got a ton of food in front of you that we're going to talk about, and I hope to get somewhere with you today. This is not a typical, I've never done this class before. This is something I dreamt about, really. And if you were around me in the last 3-4 months, I've been talking a lot about steamed food, but let's stop right there for a second, and let's back up, and let's bring this all back to Pesach. Because the rabbi said, Mike, you got to talk about Pesach. I said, okay. I said, what am I going to say? He goes, tell me your influences. Tell me what you got. Tell us about your Pesach and what Pesach means to you and how it translates into food and what you think about. And you know, the best part is, I actually did think about it. And I thought about it in years past, and I think about it all the time because that's what I do. I think about food. Does anybody want some bubbles? Yeah, a little Pellegrino, yeah. There you go. Pass it. It's your bottle now. You could pass it around. You're all going to be working together today. So, forgive me. Oh, it's the rabbi. I hung up on him. Should I call him back? Nah. Right? So he says, talk about Pesach. And you know, I don't know if you know anything about me. I should tell you where I'm coming from, because what's the point of listening to what somebody has to say if you don't know from where they're standing? My family is, probably some of you have similar backgrounds that I could see in the audience. My family is originally from Ukraine, from Munkach. They came here in 1974. Yiddish was my first language, believe it or not, and I forgot it, and then I relearned it, right? But I heard a lot of Russian, and I ate a lot of, I didn't grow up like the kids I went to school with, right? I was European all the way. I was probably, I have a friend here that probably says I'm one generation behind, because most guys my age have parents that were possibly born here and their grandparents were from another place, or their great-grandparents. So Pesach for me was very, very intense. It was intense. Right? We would all schlep stuff and pick up stuff, and everything would start from there, and we'd empty and build, and we didn't go away for Pesach. There was no culture of that. And everything, my mother would make borscht, and it would be in the basement, you know. I'm just curious, does anybody have that reference at all? Of course, right? So we would have borscht in the basement. Kugel and potatoes is what we ate, and that happened for years. And then I became more American, and I started seeing what other people do and what they relate to on Pesach. And I always say, oh, wow, they eat a lot of matzah on Pesach. I eat matzah, but it's not every meal. I don't do matzah brie and matzah with butter and matzah with cheese and matzah pizza and every version of matzah that ever existed. You know, I need a cup. Yeah, thank you. And after thinking about that for a while, I said, that's an American Pesach in the worst way, is to just make everything matzah and matzah and matzah and indigestion and weirdness, and everything is something with matzah. Matzah lasagna. You know matzah lasagna? So I'm going to tell you something personal. I was in culinary school. I'd come back like in between, and I learned all these things, and I started cooking at home on Passover. And I started doing things like poached salmon and roasted potatoes. And I still remember being a really young cook, bringing this stuff to the table. And I still remember my father saying, he speaks with an accent, so you'll excuse me. Food, food, food. You just talk about food all day long. Food. Stop talking about food, right? But I was exploring this whole new way of cooking. It wasn't just, goulash-style foods and kugel. I was doing lighter, fresher fare. And you put all that together, and something comes clear. Something comes very clear about Pesach. It's a retreat to basics. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he mentioned that Pesach is when the Jews left in haste. Everything was in haste, right? There's no bread, because bread is not something that you could do hastily. You guys know that bread is complex. Who sees bread as a simple thing? There's nothing simple about it. You take grain. You got to mill it, right? You got to put water. You got to have yeast. It's got to ferment, right? It takes time. It takes time. When you grab a slice of bread, you take it for granted, but there's nothing simple about that bread, right? Now, this, on the other hand, this is simple, right? This is, anybody know what this is? Winner. 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 So, who walks, so that's simple. So I say to myself, what is Pesach? What is it? It's about a retreat to more simpler preparations, foods, tastes, right? Steamed vegetables, steamed root vegetables, some just gently cooked items. And if you do Passover right, now, do as I say, not as I do, right? But you'll be very, very thankful for it, right? And that is eat more vegetables on Pesach, cook more basic food, eat more proteins. So which brings me down to this class. And how did I get to this class? What am I doing here? I think that one of the biggest things about cooking, when people ask me, why is your chicken so good? Why is your lamb so good? Why is your potato so good? And I say, I do nothing. I just cook it and I add salt and pepper. That's all. I think there's a couple people in this room I had that conversation with where I always say, all I have, I just cook it and I add salt and pepper. What do you do with your chicken to make it so delicious? Oh, I just put it in the oven, I add salt and pepper, and I eat it. And it's amazing. Just out of curiosity, who believes that that's something that you can do? Just cook it plainly, add salt and pepper, and it's perfect. There's probably... So the purpose of this, and let me tell you what you have in front of you. You have a collection of ingredients cut up for you. This is the general product here. And what you have in this pan over here are just basic seasonings. Olive oil, salt, pepper, mayonnaise, vinegar, right? Anything that makes food taste good. What's in a vinaigrette? Oil and vinegar. Right? What is the essence of a vinaigrette in the end of it? What do we do in all foods? When we eat peanut butter and jelly, is that a vinaigrette? It is to me. You got the richness of the peanut butter, and you got the sweetness and the acidity of the jelly, which makes a vinaigrette, right? And that's everything. That's everything. I see everything as peanut butter and jelly. And everything can be a piece of bread. Not all bread is the same, right? You have wheat bread, you have whole, right? But the idea is that you can always season anything basic. And you could also appreciate it on its own. So, before you guys got here, we started steaming some things. This gentleman over here, Joe, is not much of a steamed food eater, right? He even made a shechianu today, right? And he goes, I don't want that. Don't give me tuna fish and give me Ritz crackers, right? But we sat here, and I cooked up some beets, or I cooked up some fennel. Actually, you know what? Why don't we have a little bit of fun? Step number one, let's talk about some safety, okay? The right way to use these steamers, watch me carefully, okay? Watch, Rabbi. Sorry I didn't take your call. I pushed the wrong button. All right. So always turn, wait, I'll use one that's on. Watch, you see, watch. You grab the handle and you just turn it sideways to let the steam up. Don't burn yourself. Don't turn it towards yourself, right? You see? I don't want anybody to hurt themselves, right? Now you're going to have to share, right? Just like the Karban Pesach, you're going to have to get into groups, right? So there's about one, like that? Like that, okay. That's funny. So the idea is this. I want to revisit purest cooking, pure food. I want to talk about it together. I want to engage you. And I want you to start to see food a little bit the way I do, that things taste great, and has nothing to do with your chefness, has nothing to do with your genius, right? It doesn't take genius to make food great. It takes purchasing good produce and good food. I actually have some salmon that we're going to steam off a little too. We'll play with that as well. Curious, who steams food in their house? I know, I want to see the hands. I actually want to see hands. I desperately want to see it. Now, my humble experience with steamed food and why I vacated from steamed food for so many years is because steamed food was usually overcooked cauliflower that was lukewarm, underseasoned, and desperately, what's the word? There's a perfect word. Very uninspiring, right? It was like, oh, it was depressing, right? Probably took me away. And by the way, it's not that my mother wasn't a great cook. She's a great cook. But, you know, she would steam the vegetables because somebody said it's and it would be on the table and it'd be disgusting. Like, I couldn't eat it, right? And then something amazing happened. I lived in Hawaii for a while, and that steamer was being used all day long. They were steaming vegetables, they were steaming fish, everything got steamed, and it was so foreign to me. And I said, how could steamed food be so good? And you know what it is? And actually, at this moment, so we get to put something in our mouth and share a little bit of experience, I would ask you, can you identify the fennel? All right? Throw a couple of pieces of fennel into the, careful what I said, when you open the cover, do it the way, You gotta follow the rules or you're gonna burn yourself. Guys, take your time. Again, look. Like that. Right? You saw what I just did? You see, you got, guys, everybody's got to pay attention, listen, the details are important. Just turn it sideways, let the steam out. Right? Like, don't be going like this, just twist it out, let the steam out. Throw in some, by the way, just to get ahead of the game, what else should we throw in there? Let's throw a couple of those sweet potatoes in there. By the way, those slices, those whites. Joe, my thing is off. I don't have a steamer. My steamer is off. Oh, no, it's back on. Back on. Back on. In you go. Do me a favor. Walk around and help out if necessary.
If anyone needs help.
That is something else. There you go. Cover. Is this on? Is it on or not? Is it red?
No, it wasn't on.
Oh, that's not good. You're going to have to wait a bit. You'll use mine. Guys, make sure your steamer's on and cover it up. You're losing the steam. Make sure the red light is on. Is it on?
Yeah, it's on 7.
No. Is the red light on?
Yeah.
That's a timer. It's just, yeah, that's an on-off switch, essentially. There you go. Okay. It's on. 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 All right. It's not on? What? The power went out again? Guys, I need you to make sure they're all on, please. I can't do it all. No, I need to make sure the people's are on. That's my biggest issue.
What? I'll check.
They're not on. They're not on. Let's just start steaming a bunch of stuff here, okay? All right. I know they're working on it. I know. Of course.
We just walked in.
Hi.
What's going on?
Oh, I'm gonna go through everything.
We're not getting power here.
I know.
Everyone's
Guys, have a seat. Relax. They're working on it.
steaming the vegetables.
Yeah, but your steamer's not working at the moment. I noticed that your steamer's not working. That's just...
Here's an outlet.
No, it's not that outlet.
What are we going to do? We're not going to have to. It's a fuse.
Oh, Mike, what's up?
I gotta do everything. Do me a favor. Find steamers that are working. What? Yeah, I'm not happy.
What?
Because I don't have power. The steamers aren't working. Everybody's steamers are out. Do you see that? All right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to steam a bunch of extra stuff over here. Look at that. Got a lot of potatoes. I'm going to put a couple of do me a favor. Put this into a bowl. I'm going to start. I don't have gloves. Yeah, please. Okay. So we're having a little technical difficulty with the electricity, right? We're having a little technical difficulty, for sure. I'm going to steam a couple of extra things. And I'm sorry about that. Can't control all things in life. I know, we're missing a whole line over here, right? Are you guys working? Front line? Off and on is, because he's put the cover on. Michael, you're slow. You're letting out all the steam. There you go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Quick question. When you steam at home, those who steam, what do you steam? And then what do you do? Tell me your process. You steam the string beans and you eat them right away? No, I know, but do you eat them within 5 minutes of steaming them? I am dealing with a sophisticated crowd over here. You know that? Okay. Right. The idea is this. All foods are delicious as far as I'm concerned. And if you can just simplify the seasoning and start to retreat to more basic preparations, you'll find that it's a lot more rewarding and exciting to revisit and try something again for the first time. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there's a bunch of vegetables here that some people may recognize and some may not. But I promise you, they're shockingly delicious when you take them out of the steamer. And if they don't taste great on their own, it's amazing what any one of these seasonings can do. Now, in your little plate over here of seasonings, right? To me, this is just a perfect little sample set of everything you need to make food taste good. A couple of things that are not familiar. This is called honey powder. This is a wonderful ingredient if you can get your hands on it. It's very interesting. It's a great it's called honey powder. But it's just another form of sugar. You know, if you used honey, it would be the same thing. But I think it's really nice to be able to have a dry method of honey, right? It's very interesting. Now, I know it's a Passover event, but I'm sure there's a few Sephardim in here that got a little sesame seeds, right? If you've been to an Asian restaurant, you know that this is like a burst of flavor, right? But it's not what makes it taste good, right? What makes it taste good is the vegetable and the freshness and cooking it and eating it now, right? So right now you're eating we're cooking a fennel, we're cooking like a Japanese kind of white sweet potato. Anybody ever see those before? Who am I dealing with here? What do I have? What do I got? 20 Gordon Ramsays in the audience here? This is insane. I say, who steams? Half of you say yes, right? I say, have you ever steamed before? You say yes, right? I understand. What is this? You guys aren't amateurs. You're professionals. You're professionals. You guys are food people, right? So let's up the ante here a little bit. The steamer is there for you. Steam anything you want, and let's have a conversation about it. Because I see that I'm dealing with people that are not rookies. You guys need to come to the restaurant a lot more often. Because I am telling you, it gets weak out there sometimes, you know? It's tough. It's tough. I love it. Anytime. Anytime. You're welcome. Let me show you something you may not have realized. I steam fruit. Do you guys ever steam fruit? This is a big winner. I steam fruit. I buy a pear and I steam it. And then if I want it hot, I eat it hot. If I want it tomorrow, I'll just put it in the fridge. I'll cool it off and I'll put it in the fridge just the way it is. And then the next day, I'll cut it up and I can roast it. I can add salt and pepper to it. I can put it into a dessert. I could do a million things to it. But really what it does is it's basically poaching without the sugar. And it's an amazing little tip, and it works fantastically well for Pesach, for sure, but all year round. I have a customer that likes to have like old-fashioned sour cherry compote, and I always have steamed pears in. And the other day, I just mixed a bunch of steamed pears in, and I served them a bowl of sour cherries with steamed pears, and it was a quick, easy dessert. By the way, a pear or an apple can be used savory as well. It doesn't only have to be apple pie or fruit plates, right? Apples, pears, you know what an apple is called in French? Or I should say a potato is called in French? I knew you knew. I knew you knew. It's a pomme de terre. It's an apple of the earth, right? So this is the apple from the tree or the pear from the tree, right? It's a starch. The only difference is one has sugar and one doesn't. A little different aroma. But once you roast it up, you add a little rosemary, it can go right next to any roast veal or any product like that. This is an apple banana. You ever see that? This was an experiment. I went to the market this morning and I said, you know what? I've never steamed this before. Let me see what happens. And guess what? Ezra, how was it? Sorry. He's not giving the right answer. The right answer is it stunk. It was terrible. It was so starchy that I'm still thirsty. I'm telling you, it's mind-blowing. It was the starchiest thing I ever tasted, right? But that's the nature of it. That's the beauty of the steamer. Another thought about steaming that I want to share with you. So the Jews were running out of Egypt and they were in haste, right? Jews travel, and I get phone calls all the time. Mike, can you prepare me food for the road? I want this, I want that, I want this. And I say, I don't get it. They don't have supermarkets where you're going? You can't get food? He goes, no, I need them. So roast me a steak and pack it into a container so I can microwave it or give it to them, and they'll double wrap it and they'll put it in the oven. And by the way, this is a $22 steamer, right? It came in Amazon overnight, and it steams perfectly, and it comes in a perfect little box. And I was thinking to myself, I said, if I was running away from somewhere and I didn't have any time to prepare, because why can't you, when you're moving, you can't make bread because you need an oven. You need oven space, right? Nobody has ovens when they travel, right? So, but people can plug in a steamer. It's a modern solution to a lot of cooking. You could take a piece of fish, throw it in there with a couple of vegetables, and just bring a seasoning with you. And when you take these items out of the steamer, by the way, let them go. Don't worry about it. You want to know when are they ready? They're already ready, right? And they'll be ready in 5 minutes from now also. The point is, you can eat them as they are, or you can give them a little peanut butter and jelly. It could be chili oil. It could be a little sesame seed. And in my world, I say olive oil, salt, and lemon is the solution to almost everything. Do you guys put olive oil, lemon, and salt on everything? So tell me, when you think Passover, do you think matzah, or do you think vegetables and protein? You know what? I got a ringer in the front. But it happens to be the truth. And this is meant to be an inspirational talk that Passover is a time to actually eat great food, not to crunch on matzah and dip in matzah all day long. It's an amazing opportunity, and it's not difficult to do. Where are those beets? So these are some beets that I just threw in the steamer. And I'm not going to add any salt to it. I'm not going to put a single flavor. Ezra, you want to do me a favor? Want to cut these up for me? Just, actually. You know what? I'll cut them up. I don't want your hands to get dirty. I don't mind getting dirty. I like getting dirty. Hold on. Is the potato ready? The potatoes ready? Hold on, guys. Don't do them all at once. Try to... No. Don't eat them all. The potato's not ready. The potato's not ready. Guys, don't take the potato out. It is? You sure? Guys. What's that? This one I did. By the way, everybody, I want you to try to use the seasoning that's in front of you. Let's start with the basic one. You got fennel in front of you, right? Of these dressings, of these seasonings, just put a little salt and olive oil and lemon on it. That's it. Here, I'll show you. Mine went off too. Joe, can you give me water, please? I know. It's not about the light, it's about water. I got no support. I got it. By the way, has anyone ever seen these before? Who knows what this is? No. Try again. Rutabaga, also known as a wax turnip. You know why it's called a wax turnip? Because there's wax all over it. Do you know that this is probably the most interesting and tasty? It's on your plate, actually. It's this. Where is it? Right here. These little cubes. That's rutabaga. By the way, does everybody have this tray in front of them? Is everybody looking at it? Get into it. These are the seasonings over here. Open them up. Open them up. Exactly. Guys, don't put salt on the oil.
Stay up your voice.
What?
They can hear you better.
Why, you can't hear me back there?
In the back. When people are very schmoozy.
Guys. All right. Now you got a microphone. Is that better? Okay, excellent. Listen, the idea is this. Don't just randomly grab food and steam. I know it's a Jewish thing of us. We see, we take, we eat, right? We can't help it. Not the point, right? Steam things. Taste them for what they are. Then add a little salt or add a little olive oil. And understand that seasoning and food is a lot like music. It's just like somebody playing a solo instrument. When you take a beat like this and you just cook it by itself, that's a soloist playing solo. Somebody just singing acoustically. You add salt, he's singing louder. It's like adding a microphone to it, right? Salt is a microphone to flavor. If you add too much salt, it gets too loud and unenjoyable. But too far away, you don't get enough of the impact. That starch is killing me. So I want to exercise this seasoning element, and I'd love it if people would talk about it with me a little bit. With the fennel, the olive oil, and the lemon, that's a dish. It's a side dish for fish, it's a side dish for chicken, and it's amazing. I don't know what you guys got cooking in there, but let it cook and make sure it's on. I know that the steamer was off, so be patient with it. We're not going to be able to go in the order that I'd like. Sure, go ahead. It's not about interchanging. Life is not about substitutions. It's about what you have. If you have maple sugar, use maple sugar. And that is very much the attitude that I wish I could impart on you, is that the item itself is wonderful. Anybody know what this is? Does anybody recognize this vegetable? This is called a sunchoke, a Jerusalem artichoke. Chefs loves this stuff, right? I will give you a warning. You could literally take off to the moon more than a cholent if you don't steam this all the way. This is extremely effective, if you know what I mean, right? But I don't know what it is. Restaurants and chefs love it, and to be honest with you, I just put it on my menu for the spring. I couldn't resist. I don't know why. There's like an attraction to this ingredient. Yes. Where do you get sunchokes? You get them at the Whole Foods market. You get them at a Fairway. You have one in your pan. If you want to taste what a sunchoke tastes like, today's your lucky day. You don't peel it. You do not peel a sunchoke. You do not need to. In general, skin is not dirty, right? I want to show you guys something. What's that? The question on the floor is, can you oversteam something? So this is a great segue, because the answer is, if you oversteam something, what have you done? You've completely broken down the item, and you have the most amazing soup in the world. I want to share a very good story about how I learned something about myself. I thought that I knew what I was doing making carrot soup. I thought that I knew the final way to make carrot soup, and everybody can forget their way because I know how to make carrot soup. And then one day I came across an absolutely stunning carrot. It was fresh, it was beautiful, and I said, you know something? Maybe it has nothing to do with me. Maybe it has everything to do with the carrot. And I took the carrot and I put the carrot in the steamer. And I let it get over-steamed, as you said. And this was no more than 2 years ago. And I put my spoon into the carrot, and I put it to my mouth, and I said, dear God, that is the most delicious thing I've ever eaten in my life. I cannot believe that I've wasted thousands of hours doing this and adding that and cutting this and doing this technique. All it took was putting a carrot in a steamer, overcooking it until it became a puree, and then I blended it with a little bit of extra virgin olive oil and a little ginger. And it was fantastic. But you know what? It was good with nothing. You know, since we're like out of order and our steamers aren't working and the whole order of things went away and we're just shooting from the hip right now, I want to show you a really great trick that you're going to take with you. You guys have microplanes? I'm going to show you how to extract ginger juice with a microplane. You're going to use this one. By the way, I got beets on the table, I got a squash on the table, I got a million things I got to talk about here. We're out of order. That steamer is there for you. I want you to, as we're going through the products, feel free to steam something and use the seasoning in front of you and realize how basic that is. Watch this, watch this. You don't even need to take the skin off. Watch this, guys. I'm microplaning the ginger. Watch this. How do you get juice out of ginger? Watch how you get juice out of ginger. Did you see that? That was nothing, right? I barely used any ginger, and I have the most amazing ginger juice that just came right out of it. And all I'm left with is the pulp in my hand, right? So if you ever want to make yourself fresh ginger ale, if you want to add ginger to your tea and you don't want to chew on the ginger and you don't want the fiber, everything you want is right over there. You caught that one? Don't forget, that's a good one. One more thing I want to show you. Guys, quiet. Quiet! Quiet. Listen. Chitty chat. Let's go. Who knows what this is? I got professionals here. This is unbelievable. This is I'm on the Upper East Side, clearly. Oh, by the way, it makes the most delicious soda water, that fresh ginger. This is a delicata squash. I steam this whole. This is a whole steamed delicata squash. The skin, it's closed. You see that? It's steamed in its package. Inside of here are seeds. A lot of nutrition, a lot of excellent things. You could do this days ahead, right? Let me show you what happens when you open it. Which way? Which way? Fully cooked. You see inside how tender it is? By the way, the entire skin is edible. This whole thing is edible. It does not need to be scooped out. Even the seeds are cooked right now. This is ready. This is something you can cook 3 days ahead, 4 days ahead. You don't lose anything. You don't have to start cutting anything. And you can cook every squash whole. There's some people around here that I've already told that to, right? And I know it sounds crazy, but if you're a cook, it's a life-changing experience, because how many of you have almost cut yourself busting into a butternut squash, trying to peel that, or a pumpkin, or any kind of gourd, right? Right? It is such a joy. Cook them whole. You don't even have to steam them. You can put it in an oven at 250, and it's amazing. You know what? You just asked me how long. And what is the answer to that question? Until it's tender, right? Those are the rutabagas. That's the rutabaga. By the way, in your pan you have some pears, right? Steaming fruit is amazing. I gave you some sliced fruit to give a shot to. Where's Ezra? You know what? Where's Ezra? I need a knife. I can't talk, hold the microphone, and cut these beets. Just rough chop, just give me a cut on the beets so I can give it out. I want people to taste those beets. What else do we have here? Oh, yes. Who knows what Swiss chard is? How about chard in general? You know those big red kind of things? This is a beet top. When you buy beets, these are not garbage. These steam too. These are fantastically nutritious, very deep, very saline. The color itself tells you everything. This is something that you could steam. It's something you can saute, but again, we're steaming. So I didn't put it in there. I thought it was a little too incorrectly colorful. I want to show you one thing about steaming, one other thing, very important. A lot of people think you have to put things directly in the steamer. If you've ever been to if you ever seen Chinese restaurant video, you see that they don't put things directly into steamers. They usually put things on. Did you lose power?
Yeah, the back row keeps going out.
You know, you plan things, and this is what happens, right? It's very interesting. By the way, I have to admit, every single steamer was on an hour before you got here. So I'm not really sure what's happening. I hope I'm not destroying the electrical system of the shul, which, by the way, is gorgeous. And it's only going to get nicer, I see. So, what are you checking? You're eating a little baby's, but not by itself?
No, I have some truffle salt.
Oh, you added the truffle salt. Very good. By the way, there's some mushrooms in your pan, too, that you could steam. Who would steam a mushroom, right? But I got news for you. Steaming a mushroom is really, really wonderful and delicious. Especially if you add a little bit of that truffle salt to it. It really picks up the umami of it, right? That's good.
Yeah, I'm just going to make it.
Thank you. Very good idea. Good idea. Don't be afraid. Cut. Cut. You can get aggressive.
What did you do to keep the mushrooms so white?
Those mushrooms are always white, just the way they are. Those are trumpet royale mushrooms. Are you still cooking here? Red light? Good. Good. Okay. You guys ever use this? Eggplant? You know there's a lot of different kinds of eggplants, right? You know that this one is good? Why? Why do you guys like this one? What's that? I hear you. It's mild. It's sweet. It doesn't have a lot of that astringency. You know that weird flavor that you get? Before you guys got here, I did a test on this. I threw this in the steamer. I just hacked it up and threw it in the steamer. It was sweet. It was lovely. And he made another bracha on it. Japanese eggplant, Korean eggplant, right? That's a big win. There you go. Don't try to hold 6 plates.
Pass out that first
There you go.
first row.
Good. Please. Have a beet. By the way, that beet got a little bit of that ginger juice that I squeezed. So just be ready. Pass it down. Just take one, pass it down. Take one and pass it down. Pass. I got you. There you go. Yes. Try some steamed beets. There you go. Look at you. You've done this before.
No. You're motivating us.
Oh, you put in a little beets. That is a Jerusalem artichoke, but make sure it's cooked soft. I'm checking on everybody. I'm walking around. Well, I'm not doing anything. You're the ones cooking, right? Do you have any questions for what's in this caddy over here? There's some apple cider vinegar in here as well.
What's the red one?
This one is kitniot, sesame. Sesame oil. That's mayo. That's mayo. This is the. That is truffle salt. Truffle salt.
I don't know what that means.
Has anyone not eaten steamed food? Has anyone steamed food is not in their vocabulary? There's no steamed food going on in their house?
I do a lot of roasting.
Everybody does roasting.
Then you need oil.
You need oil, you need fire, right? You need all that stuff. I can't tell you. You know, somebody's asking, what is the proper time to cook the vegetable? If you noticed, I cut everything small for you. The smaller you cut it, the less time. Or you could steam things whole. You could steam a whole fish, you could steam a small piece. So I was telling you earlier that you don't always need to put the food into the steamer directly. You can put it on a plate like this. You can literally put the plate into the steamer and then take out the plate. And then you don't get the whole steamer messy. And that is a helpful tip as well, especially if you want to put something in like beets, right? Beets will discolor your entire steamer. It'll make everything purple, right? But if you put it on a plate, now mind you, at home, you could have a much bigger steamer. I'm trying to pull off a trick over here that everybody could steam and still enjoy some steamed food and try some new seasonings. Open.
Another kind of steaming that you mentioned earlier. That there's another kind of steaming.
What do you mean? Yes, you could steam in an oven. Where's that fish? Let's start handing it out.
Here we are with the one and only Mike from...
Who's this guy?
Famous Mike
We're in the middle of a
Bistro.
class. Who is this guy? All right. Let's back it up just a little bit. Let's back it up. Let's talk about something for just one brief moment. I want to share with you a thought about food and what is the essence of it and what is it that we're eating exactly. I want to get everybody's attention on this because I really want you to hear this. By the way, while I'm telling this, we're going to be handing out a little bit of salmon. I want you to cook that salmon on a plate in the steamer so it shouldn't contaminate the whole thing. You get what I mean? You're going to take a little piece of salmon, you're going to put it on a plate, and then I want you to predetermine what you're going to season it with. And I want you to experience how wonderful something so basic like steamed salmon with whatever accent you're going to add makes it. What? Plenty. By the way, there's 6 per pack, so not one. Guys, do me a favor. You're there.
That's my bad.
You're there.
It's gonna be every 2 tables.
Yes, exactly. What you doing? That's pass. Don't pack them too tight on the plate. They will stick together. You can use 2 plates. Pass. There you go, exactly. You can season it before or you could season it after. It really doesn't matter. If you season it before with salt, you're essentially curing the fish. Does everybody know what that means when you cure something? Can I get everybody's... Hey, I got a lot of chatter. It's hard for me to talk over you. Hey, Rabbi, I feel like I'm giving a speech in shul. Everybody's talking. Not here. Here. Crack a bottle. What's all the yenting about? What's everybody talking about? I want in on the conversation. Come on. Stay with me. I got things to share with you.
Is that on?
Oh, yeah.
So now the other.
Oh, you're eating on the dishes. I see.
No, but I need
No. You got to do it on this.
Oh, what, you want this on here?
Yes, this is not for eating. This was for steaming. That's for eating. Yes. Exactly.
Okay.
Sorry, distracted by broken electricity. I wasn't able to give the instructions. Those little plates that were in front of you, those were for the steamer. The plastic plates were for eating. Are we too late on that? Yes. Exactly. No salmon? There you go. What's going on? How come? What's at the end of the table? Are these empty? Oh, they're fish. Yeah, just pass them down. Yeah. Oh. Ezra, give out the fish.
Where are we gonna put it on here?
Might we put in the steamer the fish?
Yes.
Have another one?
Pass that down over there.
I don't know where to put it.
Right here.
Oh, no.
Put it right in the plate. Exactly.
Oh, they're small.
Is it still on? Yeah, of course.
Yeah, it's on there.
You're not eating.
Okay, we share. It's not for us. Have to put that.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. Exactly. No. There you go. Always 45 degrees. Always. Always.
How you doing?
Well. Does everyone have the salmon in front of them?
Do we have to come up and pick up salmon? No, we're still waiting for salmon in the back row.
Ezra, stop pouring wine and give out the salmon. You're not a bartender. Let's go. Let's go.
Want some chocolate?
That's truffle salt. Exactly. Exactly. All right, all right. I feel like starting to rap in a minute. I'm going to rap. Hello. Can I get quiet, please? Please, please. Or I'm going to speak louder. It's going to get really annoying. If you guys keep talking, I'm going to do the whole show like this, and it won't work out. Okay, good. I want to share something with you, something to think about. This is something that somebody brought to my attention that absolutely spun my head around. The sun is what we eat. Isn't that a crazy statement? It's something to realize. I've shared this with 3 people, and it's something that really stands out. And I want to talk about it while you're playing with the salmon and putting it in the steamer. How does a tree grow? So what is the tree? What is this leaf? Like, what is it? Like, what is it made of? We eat, right? We eat protein and we gain muscle. What is a tree eating to get this leaf to actually grow? Right? It's carbon. With photosynthesis, it separates the carbon dioxide from the air, it exhales the oxygen, and what does it hold on to? It holds on to carbon. Everybody with me? Does anybody not understand what I just said? I want you to hear this. If you're going to hear one thing from me today, it's going to be this. Okay, I'm going to start talking like this. Here we go. I'm going to start going like this. We're going to start talking like this. You guys are too loud. You're too loud. I don't like talking over people. Sorry, I'm not a teacher. All right. Vegetables are made with photosynthesis, especially the leafy ones. Trees that grow up are carbon taken from the air. That is literally what it is. Now, what happens when you take a tree and you cut it down and you burn it? It's the reverse process. You're taking that carbon, your rapid oxidation, right? And you need oxygen, and what you're seeing is the reversal of the growth. So the carbon that was held onto is now being burned, and oxygen, and what are you seeing? What's the light? That's the original sun that created the tree in the first place, that heat, that light. So the entire tree is made up of sun energy. All vegetables are sun energy. When an animal walks around and eats lettuce and eats grass, what is it eating? It's eating the sun. It's eating the energy of the sun that is stored in that vegetable. So we eventually eat meat, and we're still eating a vegetable. We think we're eating meat, but in the end, the source is still the same. It's still coming from the sun. And that's all this is. When I see fruits and I see vegetables and I see meat and I see protein, I say this is all just energy for the sun making its way into my body in some way. And that is another interesting and beautiful way to understand that everything is completely connected and everything is designed to be appreciated beautifully, whether it's a vegetable or it's a piece of steak or whether it's a bean. By the way, curious, the crowd here, how many people eat kidney oat here on Passover? All right, two out of 50. 3, got it. Oh, there you go. Let me help you. You go like this with the grip, just like that. Watch. grip the edge of the plate and just pick it right out. You're welcome. Now, let's go back to the salmon. When is the salmon cooked? Guys, when is the salmon cooked? When is the salmon ready? It's whenever you say. It's however you like it. You can put it in there for 1 minute, you can put it in for 3, you can put it in for, it's ready, I promise you. The point I'm making is, how long does it take for the heat to penetrate the salmon? Let's back up. What is cooking? It's a good question, right? What does it mean to cook something? It means to apply heat. That's what it means. To cook something is to apply heat. When you cook a piece of salmon and the air and the steamer is at 250, 300 degrees, how long does it take that little piece of salmon for the heat to penetrate that salmon? What do you think? Maybe 30 seconds at the most, right? Maybe. Right? Now, if it sits in there for 5 minutes, what do you think is going to happen to the salmon? And why does it overcook? That's the question. Why does it overcook? Does anybody know why it overcooks? The juices evaporate. So you're close. And I want everybody to understand this. There's a relationship between protein and temperature. And I'm going to give you a visual to show you so you understand. When you cook eggs and you put eggs in the pan, are they soft or hard when they go into the pan? But it's all protein. But then they heat up, and what happens? They get harder, right? And if you have fat in the pan, you hear snap, crackle, pop, right? What is that noise of popping? That's water coming out of the protein. Right? Now, why does it? Because as protein gets hotter, it coagulates and gets tighter. And this is what happens. You get a soft protein, right? It's soft, it's loose, it's raw, right? There's water in there. Now, no water is coming out of it right now. It's raw, right? But as I heat it up, and I don't have that much water here, but as it gets hotter, it gets tighter, it gets tighter, it gets tighter, because that's what happens with protein and heat. Things get hotter, and what happens when things get tighter? It's pushing out the water from the protein. When you overcook something, all you're doing is getting it hotter and hotter and hotter, and it's shrinking and shrinking and pushing out water. And that's why things get overcooked in the meat world. That's why you like when you say you want your steak medium rare, what are you saying? You're saying that you want an internal temperature of 130 degrees. If it gets to 140 degrees, what is it? It's not medium rare anymore. It's 10 degrees. Do you know how little that is? That can happen in a matter of 5 minutes of you checking your email before starting to eat your steak. Now that is a little educate. Yes, I assure you, yes. It's all about internal temperature. In the end, when you cook a piece of salmon in a steamer, even though it's wet, it's getting dry. And that to me is the biggest surprise of steaming. How could something that I put in water be dry? It's so counterintuitive and it's so weird, right? It's nothing you would think about. And you know where you see that a lot? On Thanksgiving turkey. How many times do people think they're just going to keep basting the turkey with that liquid, with the soup or whatever, and it gets drier and drier and drier and drier, no matter how much soup you put on top of it, no matter how much gravy, because you're just cooking it more. And why am I telling you all this? Because cooking is simple. It's just basic information. It's not magic. And so much of it is about salesmanship, where people want to say that they have some magical trick that makes their food taste so great. I got news for you. That might have been true 150 years ago, but it is not true today. Right? Once upon a time, a person had a particular kind of yeast growing in his kitchen or in wherever, and his cheese or his wine had a specific taste because that was the yeast that was in that area. Or that oven that he was cooking in had a particular kind of stone that held the heat in a certain way and had the right humidity. That magic is over, guys. There is no magic anymore. We know the answers to why food tastes good and why it doesn't. We understand what salt is. I must tell you a story about salt because it'll make your head explode. There was a night in the restaurant, and this is a true story. Suddenly, the food didn't taste right. I want you to know that is like my nightmare of nightmares. I'm terrified by that. It is such a powerful feeling when you eat your own food and it's not good. You know? And then you go into the kitchen, you're looking at the food, and everything looks normal. Everything looks normal, but you're panicking because you know the food doesn't taste right. And you start to get nervous. What's happening here? Is there soap? Is there something bad? What's happening? And I'm telling you, I'm standing there going, oh my God, I'm doing this for 15 years. I have absolutely no idea what the heck is going on. So I go to the cook. I say, tell me everything. I want to know everything you did from the morning that you got here. What soap did you wash your hands with? What is going on exactly? And I'm looking around, and I'm like, what's this? What's this? And I realize the salt's a little different. The salt is different. The salt. And I say, what kind of salt are you using? He says, Mike, I'm using kosher salt. Kosher salt? No. We usually use kosher salt. In those days, nothing wrong with a good box of Diamond Crystal. Nothing wrong with it. It's pure, it's clean, it's fine. It doesn't affect flavor. It doesn't have an impact. But suddenly, we got a kosher salt delivery, and it was a totally different kosher salt. It wasn't iodized, because kosher salt is pure. It has to be pure. And suddenly, I realized that this kosher salt is not giving me the right flavor to my food. And after cooking about 6 or 7 of every item and throwing it in the trash, I realized, everybody, clear all your salt and pepper from the line. Let's start fresh. Let's open up a box, right? Now I use the salt. What salt do you have in here, Ezra? What'd you put? Which one? Ours, right? So this is the salt that we cook with, right? This is actually a baked sea salt that we use, and it's really extraordinary. If you want to taste great salt, this is great salt because it brings out the pure natural flavor of the food without being funky and weird. Every salt is a little bit different minerally. So if you could imagine, it was the salt. Everything else was exactly perfect. It was just the salt. And I still have like little shakes about it. By the way, the salmon you're eating is Faroe Island salmon. And I'm curious to know, what seasonings did you put on it? Just salt? No lemon? So let's talk about that for a second. Why would I put lemon on a salmon? So that I was trying to draw out that answer. Because what is the fish taste? You want to mask the fish taste, but what is the fish taste? It's oxidized fat. When you smell that fishy smell, which you smell from herring, and you smell from oily, fatty fish, that's the oxidation of the fats of the fish that causes a funky smell. Now, what is a lemon? It's an antioxidant. It really is all it is, right? And it does mask, and it does stop that, right? So that's one thing. But why is another reason that lemon is really good with salmon? It's the beginning of our conversation. It's all about the balance. Salmon is a rich, oily, fatty fish, right? And now you're putting lemon on it. So you're getting the peanut butter and jelly effect that I was telling you about. The salmon is the peanut butter, and the lemon is the jelly, right? Approach everything like peanut butter and jelly, and your seasoning will go fantastically. By the way, if anybody didn't get a chance to taste, sorry, I didn't follow my own rule. By the way, another thing about steaming that I love, it's not like overboiling. Over-steaming is not like overboiling. Like, this is a potato that I've been steaming now for a half hour. It's absolutely perfect. Like, it's just great. And it's butter. I mean, it's amazing. Actually, if I'm not mistaken, he said earlier, it tastes like there's butter on it, even though there isn't. Right? Yeah, there you go. Here. Oops, sorry.
Need water.
Listen, I will tell you, this event didn't go as planned, and I took a massive risk. But I got to tell you, it doesn't bother me, because I figured there was like a 10% chance something would go wrong. I didn't expect the power not to work. That was the last of it, right? But I'll give you one more thing that took me by surprise. You're not a dumb audience. You're a smart audience. You guys actually eat, you talk, I get real good answers from you. So I got to tell you, that was a curveball I wasn't expecting because it's been rough out there lately. I got to tell you, the knowledge of food has been very weak. It's all it's very steak and sushi fixated at the moment, right? And, people ask, what makes a restaurant a good restaurant? I'll tell you right now, a big one is the vegetables. Very big. The bread. The free stuff. It's not free anymore. I know, they charge.
That's new. I know, but if they don't care about the bread,
Caring is something you do across the board. Hey, is the rabbi still here? He went back to the wedding. This is a good story for him, and it's something we talk about a lot. I say, if you walk into a restaurant and you walk in and the floor goes like this, all sticky, right? And the vents are all full of dust, right? And the lights are blasting bright and irritating, right? And the stuff looks, you could just feel that there's just a lack of, what's the word I'm looking for? Passion, right? I pose this question. Do you think it's kosher, even though it has a hashgacha? I pose that question to you. Because if you don't care, then you don't care. Do you get what I'm saying? And I love saying this in the shul because it's something I always think about. I say, I don't get it. I walk in, there's no music playing. The guy's looking at me like I shouldn't be there, It doesn't feel good. The place is not clean. The bathroom is filthy and it's been hours, right? So why is the kosher certification reliable? Generally, where I come from, you either care or you don't care. You don't care about one thing and not the other, right? So just a little food for thought, because we're in a shul. I think caring is about caring overall. And the care of vegetables that you see is such a respect for the world and what the craft and everything about it. In the end, how many pieces of meat are there? I mean, let's face it. Chicken, lamb, veal, beef. Again, it's not much, right? I know, sometimes people come in and they say, this is a fascinating thing. They say, Mike, what do you have that's new? And I say, I have so many things that you haven't even tasted. And you know what they really want? Another animal. I said, I'm sorry. Creation ended. I can't create another animal. But I can tell you this, there's hundreds of different vegetables that you haven't eaten, and the fish experience in life goes on forever and ever and ever and ever. And if you have a steamer, you can eat everything all over the place. I mean, can I just point out that how do you eat lobster and shrimp? You steam them. Don't you find that to be interesting, that that's the preferred method? Have you ever been to a place where the preferred method of cooking something was steaming? I've never heard of it. I want to bring it back. And for me, that's what my Passover is going to be this year. It's going to be a lot of steamed food, and to understand that, by the way, steamed food doesn't have to be healthy. I could steam a piece of fish and take a nice butter sauce and just go whop, right? Is that healthy? Let me tell you, when they're dipping shrimp into drawn butter, I could tell you there's nothing healthy about that. But, olive oil can be buttery too. And I'm really, really inspired by the whole steaming method. The biggest one is it's the cleanest way to cook. No grease, no smoke, no fire. And usually the outlets work. Usually. I guess when you try to plug in 20 steamers, it doesn't always work. Right? Well, is there any dessert? Did I bring any dessert? Did we do any fruit? Did you steam any of those pears? I feel like giving you something sweet. I want to give you something sweet. By the way, I'm curious, how many of you stay home for Passover? Nice. Nice. That's good. Do you cook? Or do you order in? Do you do 9x13s out of the freezer? Well, guys, it's 9:18. We got started about a little late. I want you to know, if you know me, you know I could go on forever and for days. I could talk about food, I could talk about people, I could talk about life, I could talk about the culture. And I'm not going to do that to you because it's 9:20 and this event started at 8 o'clock. I want to apologize that some of your steamers didn't work and we got off to a slow start. But I really want you to take away that steaming is an extraordinarily beautiful way to cook. It's a great thing to do for Passover. And if you took away something today, I am grateful. And I'm grateful that you all came to support the shul and to support what we're doing here. Rabbi! That's why they're clapping. You just walked in. You missed it. You missed it. I was talking about kashrut. I was speaking out of turn. I was causing trouble. Thank you very much.
I just want to tell you all, so, Mike, some of the most important conversations in my life I had while Mike was feeding me. A lot of very important conversations in my personal life and in the synagogue life. A lot of meetings where I pitched the shul. I got some great responses and I got some strong declines, but the food was always consistently impeccable and outstanding. And what I love about Mike is truly his passion and his excellence. I haven't been once where something that wasn't perfect was served. And his respect for every aspect, both for kashrut and for the hospitality. And really, he's so truthful to what his mission is. I want to bless everyone to be as passionate about what you do in life as Mike is about what he does in his. So, let's... 1 second. The way Mike treats his employees, the years that his employees stay with him and the distance they go with him, and the relationships he has, and it's wonderful to go to a restaurant where people actually understand English and are really very happy to welcome you. It's a testament to his character. So I am giving a very subtle promotion to Mike's Bistro. Second. As Mike says, if you want to go, if you just want to go out at night and the conversation is not important, you have many restaurants. But if you have a serious conversation to have, there's only one place to go. Let's go to Mike's Bistro.
You're right. Thank you. Thank you.
This is beautiful.
I tried.